Hello! Yet again back at King of Fighters. Today we are looking at Mian, commonly known as the Noodle Chick.
Stage select.
I think they should use her other name. They should call her Dr. Doom. Because she has a foot dive.
Round one. Ready, go!
Okay, let's jump straight into it. Standing normals, fierce punch, which is not cancelable. Standing fierce punch far, not cancelable, but the reach on that thing is quite impressive. If we look at the standing fierce kick, it's an odd one again, because this guy goes over lows. So that's nice, useful. If you have someone who keeps on tossing out projectiles, you can still make your gap closer. Not that she needs that, to be honest, because there are other methods of getting closer using this character. Cool nonetheless. I mean, you can probably go over slides and things. Let's see if that's possible. There's a couple of sweeps. Let's see if we can bounce over that. Oh look! I'm bouncing over the sweeps. Oh no! So that's pretty cool, pretty neat. If we take a look at the weak punches, standing weak punch, also not cancelable. Standing weak kick. See, that was command normal. Standing weak kick, also not cancelable. So all of far attacks are non-cancelable. Standing fierce punch close is cancelable. Standing fierce kick close is cancelable. Standing weak punch is cancelable, close, and standing weak kick. And by the conventions again, in case I get known at, light punch is your A, weak kick is your B, strong punch is your C, and strong kick, fierce kick is your D. So A, B, C, D. Alright, so moving quite along, let's take a look at some air attacks. So her weak punch looks like that. A nice little bit of reach on it. Weak kick looks like the anti-air game. Standing jumping fierce punch or jumping C. Doesn't have a very nice angle to it. And then probably the best air attack I think is her jumping D. Those are her jumping attacks, and this is where things get useful because all of them are cancelable into her. What do we call that move? Out of curiosity. That move is Yenku. Yenku. Or Bienku. I'm gonna call it float. Because that's what it looks like. And it's kind of like what she says. Almost sounds like float. Float. Could be boat. I don't know. Getting back to the attacks. Jumping C, cancelable. Jumping D, cancelable. Jumping A, cancelable. Jumping B, cancelable. Alright, so all of those aerial attacks are cancelable. And obviously the jumping low back or CD also cancelable. And that thing hits really low to the floor. So you gotta kind of push it up a little earlier. And you're not going to win air to air with this thing. I've tried, so good luck if you've managed it. You know, good for you, but you have to like leave the floor and press the buttons to get it right. Standing CD or low back has got really good range, and that's also another way to start a combo. So it's a pretty useful way to get people to the corner. And if you do time it, you actually get a launch of the EX version as well. I wonder if you can actually combo those. I think you can. Let's try. Nah, doesn't look like it. Maybe I'll put it in the video later. Alright, so her command normal, the only one, is her forward and re-kick, and this is an odd property because it actually does crumple. So if you hit it on its own, it crumples your opponent, which leaves you enough time to do follow-ups. I think most notably that one will work, and then this one will work, and then obviously every other attack as well, so you can crumple and use one of the other attacks too. So that works. But when you do the command normal after a regular attack, it loses its crumple property. So it just acts as a regular command normal, which is then also cancelable. So if you take a look at this, you can kind of set up these types of combos. Nice and simple. But you can't cancel the crumple version. You have to crumple and then do a special. So you can't cancel that one. However, they're still very useful. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's take a look at our ducking attacks. Ducking weak punch, nice and fast. They're all very short, but they do link as well, so that's kind of useful. You can combo off that too. And just check. Yeah, there we go. So you can combo straight off a weak too. That's useful. Looking at her weak kick. And a fierce punch. Alright, so down and C, there's this really awkward looking like uphand thing. And one would think that would make a good anti-air, but I've tested it and it really doesn't. You're better off using the standing B. Because I don't know, for sometimes, every time I've tried it, it always just seems to like trade. So I don't know if anybody else manages to get it to work properly, but me, I get trades. Yay, yeah, I got one. Oh, no. Ah, I got one. Yeah, there's a trade. Alright, so again, dependent on where you're standing, but I would recommend practicing some of the anti-airs with that before you start using it for everything, lest you get punished. A ducking fierce kick, incredibly fast, ducking D, and also cancelable. So even after the knockdown, you can cancel into a special. And that covers the basics of the normals. In this down and C version, you can cancel into a special. That's pretty cool. Too bad that doesn't cancel together. Alright, so let's look at those specials. So quarter circle back and the A or C does this kind of like hopping attack. And again, because she's in the air, she goes over lows and she goes over projectiles. So you can use it as a projectile counter that travels on the floor. And also sweeps. I mean, this is fantastic for someone who's trying to sweep you the whole time. Also about it does wall bound, so you get a wall bound outright just from the attack on its own. Which means you combo, you know, so that's useful. The EX version, let's get some meter. The EX version, even though, sorry, I was actually corrected there, that was a wall splat, let's call that a splat, because the EX version actually does a bound. And the thing to notice about the EX version, it doesn't travel as far. So, from standing position, that's the distance it travels. The kind of regular one travels quite a bit further. So, you know, just make sure that you don't try and use the EX version and misjudge your distances. But yeah, you do get a wall bound off that one, or a bounce off that one. And you can combo off as well. Okay, and then that attack I just used was her DP, her Dragon Punch. So if you press forward, down, forward, Dragon Punch with the D button, you get a quick version, and the D version is a little further and a little slower. The one combo I did earlier uses the D version, so if you use C, forward, and B, DP with the B button, you're gonna whiff. So just be careful that whiffs. So just watch out for that, you have to use the actual D version. Right, so let's go back to that again. So forward, D, DP with the D version, and you get your combo. And she can't connect the quarter circle back with that command normal either, so you won't make it as a combo. But But she does however move quite far with that command normal. So the other special, which is quarter circle forward and A or C, she does in fact combo out of using command normal. And why I say like quite quickly you have to do that is because if you just time it a little short using a C on its own, you're going to miss some of the hits. Let's see if I can do it. There. So you just have to be careful. With a standing C, even close, you're going to miss some of your attacks. But if you do the command normal first, you actually get to have all your attacks connect, which is quite neat. She moves forward a little using the command normal, so just be aware of that as well. There we go. She moves a little bit far forward with the command normal. So that is your quarter circle forward and A or C. The A version does 4 hits and stops right there. The C version ends up in a launch. I wonder if there's a follow up to that. No. Alright, so she doesn't actually get a hit after that. But she does get one. EX version. There you go. And she also gets, after the DP attack, she gets a follow-up attack. Not that one. The EX version, indeed. EX version, with follow-up attack. That's also important. And you'll see in some of the combos that gives you reset potential. So once you've done the entire combo, you can reset and float away. Alright, and that brings us to floats. So, Mian can do float from the floor. If you press quarter circle, back and D or B. She does the D version quite far, she does the B version a little bit closer. Same with the side, if you do quarter circle forward and D, quite far forward, use the B version just a little bit forward. And then from those options of float, she has an attack with each button. So if you float and then press D, she does this like kind of horizontal looking foot dive. If you use B, she goes straight down. That can act as a cross up. So, and then if you use the C version, she does a diagonal version. And if you use the A version, she does one that's back. And that's terrible because that acts as a kind of an odd cross up. Sorry, not like that. Yes, okay. Really weird cross up. So extremely useful and gimmicky, which is very un-KOF. Don't know anyone who does that kind of stuff. But that's not the only option she has. You can also float again off the floor. So if you do the float, the first one, you can chain any other float afterwards. And then do the same kind of thing. So you could do 2 floats and follow with a button, A, B, C or D. And those will kind of work. So float, float, that is A button, float, float, B button, float, float, C button, float, float, D, float, float. There we go, D button. Alright, so float twice, and that's off the floor only. So if you jump once, she's not going to be able to float twice in the air. So if you jump and then float, you can't float again. She's going to do an attack if you try it again. So that's important to remember. If you're off the floor, you can float once and then float again. If you're in the air, you can only float once and then you're going to be bound to your attack. So that gives us the second part to her floating. If you are to hit with any float attack afterwards, you can float straight away again. I believe ad nauseum. So once you've done your first float, you can keep on going, etc, etc, etc. So you can understand how really annoying that can be to someone who's stuck in the corner, because they're just going to get poked at the whole day. So yeah, that makes her annoying, and it also builds a decent amount of meter. You just spend some time floating and kicking. So even while you're standing around there looking like an idiot bouncing up and down, you're going to build yourself some meter. And hit even worse. Okay, so she builds that bar really quickly just by poking at someone with her float attacks. And they're not safe. So if you see someone hitting with the float attack and then you block that, she has to land first, okay, and that's your opportunity for hitting her. However, if she doesn't land and she decides to float again, it's a different kind of ball game, because then you have to kind of prepare yourself for the fact that she's going to be in the air again. So, you know, just watch out for that. The EX version has got some interesting properties. The EX version changes things up a little in that she can't do it repeatedly. She can repeat it once only, and by that, if you float the first time around, it's a knockdown and a launch. So it's not a lockdown. It's just a launch. You can launch an opponent using this. So it makes up for some interesting corner potential stuff, because that now is a launch and you can hit afterwards. So that's interesting. But you only get one more float after this, so you can't do the EX version into a multitude of others. You can maybe do an EX into one more attack. Try that again. Oh, EX. Okay, so she won't be able to get another one even if you manage to launch. Let me just try. Go other way. Let's time that a bit better. Right, so I can't get another float after that second attack, regardless of what I do. And then again, you can chain an EX off the first hit, or you can chain a normal off the first hit. But even the normal after the first EX float attack will not chain into further float attacks. So you're going to be stuck once you've done an EX with only one more float. That's the only other difference thing. If you start with a conventional float and then do an EX, you're going to have one more float left, and you can't cancel it again. Even if it's an EX or a non-EX, you're not going to be able to cancel it again. But you can continually do the regular one and then the EX, and then you're bound to like one more float attack. So that's important to remember. If you see someone using the EX float and they've hit you at least once, know that after the second time they hit you, they're going to be landing. Okay, which is an opportunity for punishment. So that's very important. That is probably like the weak spot. If you realize that she's missed at first EX and she's coming in for the second one, you prepare to like damage her or try and counter attack. But it does give nice combos. You know, so it does act as a launch and you can combo off there, which is cool. Also, yeah, it's the same kind of stuff. The distance it travels is a little bit further than just the B. I'm not sure it's exactly the same as the D. Let's check from starting distance. Okay. Oops. That looks about the same. So that covers almost the same distance as the D version. Your EX version and the D version look very, very similar. And that covers all of her specials, really. It's very basic to play as her, but her style is completely different to most of the other characters. I mean, she has great use for her CD, because there is so much combo potential after that. You know, that it's kind of important to use that kind of stuff. And then her regular combos using meter are pretty damaging, so it's not bad to use her as a kind of first character, because she builds meter like crazy, and then also she can chain her specials together pretty well. I mean, okay, let's not do that one. Resets, I'm out of there. Okay, so that's some pretty good stuff, you know, just for 1 meter. And if you don't even do the second hit in between, you can chain into your first super, you know, which is pretty damaging, just with some of that stuff. Try that quickly. I mean, you know, congratulations, that was a really easy combo, and not bad on the damage either. Yeah, you can add in a kick before that. Alright, so you add a jump in and the rest of the combo, you can see where this is going. I mean, her CD stuff is pretty cool too. Some interesting things you can do there. Anyway, so I've got some combos that you can take a look at. I haven't figured out all her stuff yet, but she's a very interesting character to use, and she has extremely good tools. I'm sure she'll be a massive nuisance to everyone. Enjoy the video.
私は強い。はい。大丈夫。ランブレ